All right, good evening and God bless you all in the name of the Lord Jesus Christ. Tonight is another rant video. If you guys follow my main channel, you know that I do a lot of rant videos and I'm a very political guy. I'm a Christian and I'm political, and a lot of people will criticize me for that. They'll say you shouldn't mix Christianity with politics. Look, if you want to know what I believe about politics and what my political ideology is, you just have to subscribe to my main channel, Soul Winner for Jesus. You'll find the link in the description. Make sure you subscribe to it because this Monday I will be doing a live stream where I talk about what my political beliefs are, where do I lean politically towards, and you'll get the gist of it. Go ahead, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and stay tuned for more content. But I want to talk about this issue with Venezuela. So, you guys already know Venezuela is a communist nation. They're very big on communism, socialism. Maduro's a communist. That's their president, Nicolas Maduro. He's a hardcore commie. Now, I've been ranting about this issue for quite a while, and I want to ask you guys this question. You who are pro communist, pro socialist, whatever, did communism work for Venezuela? Ask yourself that question. Did it ever work for Venezuela? As you guys already know, Venezuela it once was a nation that made a lot of money, very wealthy nation. It flourished economically. It was very good when it came to economics. It was actually, if I'm correct, one of the most wealthiest nations back then before communism showed up. Uh, they really didn't have an economic issue in the old days. But when communism came around, that's when the problems came. Hugo Chavez, I believe, if I'm correct, was the first communist president in Venezuela. He brought in communism. He thought that it was a good thing. He thought Marxism would help the nation of Venezuela, but he bullcrapped himself. He bullcrapped others. Venezuela ain't what it used to be. Economically, it's a very poor country. I know this for a fact because my mother's from South America and my mother is Colombian. Their president is a piece of crap, also. I'm just going to put that out there. I don't like the president there. But, anyways, that's another rant for another time. We're focusing on Venezuela right now. And I know a lot about South American politics. And I follow Javier Milei, the president of Argentina. I love the guy, great leader, doing a lot of great things for the nation of Argentina right now. Inflation is less now because of his leadership and his decision making. He makes good decisions, but that is also another subject for another video. But again, I know a lot about Venezuela. I do study about their issues and a lot of the crime that goes on there, and I do read a lot of articles regarding Venezuela. I'm very up to date, and I have an X account, and on X, Twitter, they talk a lot about Venezuela. You'll see a lot of video clips of just a lot of problems going on there. Venezuela has issues of all kinds, and if you've been paying attention to Twitter lately, and you keep up with information, it's been getting hectic. Just recently, they tore down three statues of Hugo Chavez in Venezuela. And I'm talking about the people. I'm not talking about the government. I'm not talking about Maduro. I'm talking about regular, ordinary people who are fed up with communism. These people suffer. They don't eat. They struggle to eat. They struggle to buy food. They struggle to live. They find other means of making money there. It's not an easy life living in Venezuela. And I knew some Venezuelans myself, and they talk about how it was a struggle coming to America. They wanted to come to the United States. Some of them were able to come here via, you know, a college visa. Some of them came here with a student visa. They had to go through some ups and downs. They had to go through this. They had to go to Spain for a little while, live there, go to school there, and eventually obtain a visa to come here. And it wasn't easy. A lot of Venezuelans want that. They want to leave communist Venezuela, come to America, and start a new life, live better, and flourish financially and economically, and just live a better life. It's a hard life living in Venezuela. These people, again, talk about how they just struggle to find food, struggle to pay the bills, struggle to live. Venezuela is not what it used to be. Hugo Chavez destroyed what Venezuela used to be. A nation that, again, flourished economically. People were, again, wealthy there. They were doing just right, living right, not struggling at all. But Hugo Chavez decided to, again, get in the way of its economic flourishing and just get rid of capitalism. I'm here to ask you this question, you Marxists who are watching this video. What good did communism do for the nation of Venezuela? Did communism make it a better nation? Did socialist ideas help Venezuela become more wealthier than it was back then? And I think not. Listen, I care for Venezuela. In fact, I pray for Venezuela. I encourage Christians all the time to pray for these nations because people are living a hard life in these nations. Most importantly, I pray for the people of Venezuela to find the gospel. I'm a Hispanic man myself, and one thing I love about the Hispanic culture is that we still care about God. We still care about believing in God and having uh, religion and things like that. And I'm a Christian. I'm a fundamental Baptist. I know that in Latin America, most people are Roman Catholic, but you do find people that are Bible believing Christians. You even find a lot of Baptist churches that are fundamental in the Hispanic culture. That's because in the Latin culture, people are still open to God. My mother's in the hospital right now, and she has a surgery tomorrow. And thank God, I went there this morning to see her. I've been checking up on her every day at the hospital. Paid her a visit this morning, and she told me she passed the test. They gave her a test. They were examining her body to make sure that, because she has a cyst in her liver, they were trying to make sure it was nothing else. It was not cancer. And thank God it wasn't cancer. Everything went well with this exam. She doesn't have cancer, doesn't have parasites. It's just a regular cyst, and they're going to remove it tomorrow. And my mother, who is not a born again Christian, who is not a Baptist, she said, "Look, thank God. I'm happy that it's not worse than it is. I'm glad I don't have cancer. I'm glad I don't have parasites. And thank God for that." And that's coming from a woman from the Hispanic culture, brought up in the Hispanic culture, who still believes in God, who I believe still has hope. I'm still witnessing to my mother, and I'm praying for her. But you know what? Thank God for that. I'm glad people in the Hispanic culture still want to know God and they're still open to the gospel. And I've run into a lot of Venezuelans who are like that. And I pray for many Venezuelans to come to Christ. I've known of missionaries who've gone there. And thank God for that. They've won souls to Christ, helped plant churches there, and that's great to know. But we need to keep Venezuela in prayer. We need to keep on praying for the people there and their protection. What I really wanted to get at was that, a lot of Venezuelans are revolting against Maduro now. They're waking up, they're realizing Maduro is just trash. He's not a good leader. He's destroying their country, their wealth, their economics. He's eating good, he's living good, he's got money, but he doesn't care about his people. He's just another communist dictator following the footsteps of guys like Joseph Stalin, guys like all these other tyrannical dictators that just care about themselves only and money. Christians, let's keep praying for them. And let me tell you something. They are fighting against the government right now. They're saying, look, we're done with Maduro. Many of them tried to vote him out, and the government, and I'm sure you've seen this video clip on Twitter if you use Twitter, I hope, or maybe if you go on Google or whatever, you've probably seen those clips of people trying to get into the voting polls to vote Maduro out and for another leader, and the doors are closed on them, and they're trying to fight their way in. You've probably seen the clips of them tearing down the statues of Hugo Chavez, three of them. You might have heard of all these riots going on. People are done with communism there. They want to leave and come to America. And thank God America is not a communist nation yet. Marxism is something that is being implemented into our political ideology. We have a lot of socialist idiots in this country who believe in socialism, that think socialism works. Bernie Sanders believes in that crap. You've got idiots in the White House who believe that. Whatever. You go ahead and keep on promoting socialism and communism. It's not going to help this country. It's not going to help the debt. It's not going to help the economy here. You keep bullcrapping yourself. You're going to bullcrap yourself like Hugo Chavez did to himself and to the people of his country. You're going to bullcrap yourself like Nicolas Maduro, who lied to himself about communism and to other people there. Go ahead, try Marxism. Let me know how it works. Marxism does not work for any nation. Communism has destroyed so many nations, it's not even funny. We've seen more people killed under communism than any other political regime out there. I thank God for capitalism. Now, you can criticize me all you want, you can hate on me all you want. I thank God for capitalism. And I'm talking about God's capitalism. People say Jesus was a socialist. No, he wasn't. He was a capitalist. Read your Bible. Christ was not for dictatorship. He was not for communism. Christ, in fact, taught that we ought to be at peace with all men, that we ought to love our neighbor as ourselves, that we ought to preach the gospel to the lost. It's that simple. He had no communist backbone in him, not one. I'm all for capitalism. Nations that implement capitalism into their politics, they succeed. Nations that, again, suffer and allow communism into their politics, they don't succeed. They don't prosper. They are poor countries, and they are just flooded with crime and poverty. We need to make sure that we don't make that same mistake that Venezuela did. Again, I care for Venezuela. I pray for a lot of the people there. And I pray that somehow they can all just leave and go to some other better country than Venezuela. Or if not, somehow, some way, the president gets voted out and they get a better leader. I know it's wishful thinking, but I'm praying to God, and God does miracles. Let's see how this works. But again, Venezuela, communism didn't work for them. And again, we don't want that to happen to America. And let me make this very clear. I'm not talking about left or right. I'm not a lefty. I'm definitely not a righty. I'm not into Republicans and Democrats, whatever. Again, if you want to know my political beliefs, you got to tune in this Monday night to my live stream on my main channel, Soul Winner for Jesus. You'll get the gist of what I believe when it comes to politics. All I'm saying is we as a people need to stand against Marxism, communism, and make sure that young people in this country, young people, realize what Marxism does to a nation. Because a lot of the young kids today are being fed with crap in public schools. Kids should not be put in public school. I believe they should be homeschooled. They should be taught a better education. They're being taught Marxism helps and that capitalism is evil, and that, again, our founding fathers were evil people and all this and that. Whatever. Say what you want. But I'm going to make this very clear. We need to, again, put the right people in place. Most of your politicians are crap, and I get that. I know most of them are installed. Most of them are, again, New World Order puppets. But then you got your politicians, your candidates, like John F. Kennedy, who I believe was the greatest president in American history. They knew what was happening. They knew what was going on behind enemy lines. And they wanted to speak out against it and make sure that they would fight the New World Order regime. And again, JFK was martyred, and it's a sad story. He was a great leader. But what happened to him can happen to any leader that stands out and says, this is evil, globalism is satanic, and there are higher powers at stake. I mean, higher powers that are trying to, again, control the world, control every government across the world. Again, we need to vote right. November's coming. Make sure you pick someone that fights the establishment, fights the state. And again, pray for wisdom on this. God bless you all and have a good night.